Hi friends, it's Chrissy. Welcome to or back to my channel. So I just recorded a little intro for Attuned Tarot School where I talk about the Rider-Waite-Smith decks that I have, what my favorite is, why my favorite is, looking at the differences between some of them. And I thought I'd just throw it up on YouTube today. So welcome to Chrissy's Rider-Waite-Smith deck tour. If you want to join us for Attuned Tarot School, all the information is below. What we'll do there is spend 3-day deep dive with each card through all 78 cards. That takes us up through October, I believe. We do 2 cards a week. And then the end of the year of 2023, we're going to do a speed round where we do a card a day just to solidify all of our own understandings. I'm really excited about this. I will be honored if you decided to join us. There are some of my favorite people have joined with us already, and I'm very excited for the lively community that I know we'll have. And I'm also excited for me to experience tarot differently, more deeply myself through this process. So keep watching for my Rider-Waite-Smith deck tour. If you have any questions, let me know. And I hope you're having a great Twixtmas week. I'll see you soon. Hello, friends. I'm so glad you're here. So as we get closer to Attuned Tarot School starting on January 1st, I wanted to talk a little bit about why Rider-Waite-Smith. I'll show you the decks that I have, and then we'll share in our group what you are choosing, what you're working with. But I want to talk about why. So I was thinking about how I personally did not start on a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I started on the Fountain Tarot, which looking back, I'm like, oh, Chrissy, that was really like doing things the hard way. And I want to lead us through the process of learning to read tarot in the same way we learn to read. So thinking about when we're babies, when we're tiny little kiddos and we learn to read, we're not thrown into the world of writing with cursive and hand lettering and all of these different fonts. When we learn to read, we learn to read with a very basic font in children's books and a very standardized version of print, of the way our teachers write on the chalkboard, the specific patterns of the letters that we learn to trace over and over. And that's the energy that I want to bring to the tarot, so that by this deep, frequent study, we'll learn that the Ace of Cups is the Ace of Cups, is the Ace of Cups, is the Ace of Cups across decks, but that different different selections from different decks offer different flavors to the Ace of Cups. But in the same way that we learn that the letter B makes the B sound, we will learn that the King of Swords means this for us. Now, the beauty in this, it isn't exactly like learning to read, is that we'll get to add our own flavor to it. We're not just learning what the Eight of Swords means, for example. We're learning what the Eight of Swords feels like to us, how the Eight of Swords resonates in our mind, in our body, in our spirit, when we've experienced it before, what we're afraid of, what fear or joy or energy it sparks in us. We're building a relationship with the letter and the sound, right? If we're coming back to learning to read, we're building a relationship with that card so that you know when you draw it, this is what it means. This is what it means to me. And that as we branch out into other decks, we'll have that strong foundation with what each card means, but being able to take in the flavor. So we can play with fancy lettering as we go or at the end, however we want to look at it. But we're learning to read from a place of print letters. And that's what Rider-Waite-Smith is. So when I look at Rider-Waite-Smith, the most important part of it to me is the Smith, is the S part, is Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork. Again, I feel like it gives the groundwork for this practice, for this study, for this expression, for the skeleton of tarot. And as we go, I'm not saying that, you know, for our time together for the next year, the only deck you use is Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm inviting you to have your Rider-Waite-Smith, the same card beside you. So even if you do other, I say even if, because I assume we all will, right? Even as we do, not if, as we do other draws throughout the year, to also get out our Rider-Waite-Smith and to lay out the corresponding cards. I'm gonna go back a minute. If we do spreads, if we do draws with other decks, to always be bring our Rider-Waite-Smith out, to lay that out so that we can understand the letters, the basis of the letters, if we're looking at the cards as letters, that the other deck offers. I didn't say that well, but I think you know what I mean. So I will show you the 5/6 Rider-Waite-Smith decks that I have, so you can get an idea of some of the flavors that are out there. Feel free to, and again, you can choose one now, and that doesn't mean you have to use the same Rider-Waite-Smith deck the entire year, our entire time together. It's not that at all. I'm especially looking more. We'll talk some about color, but it is mostly about imagery. And to be honest, the colorings are various shades of the same typically. But just because you choose one to start with January 1 doesn't mean that has to be the Rider-Waite-Smith that you continue throughout the year with. You may learn that different decks resonate with you at different times, or you may just really develop a favorite as we see each other's. So the most common Rider-Waite-Smith that I see is the yellow box. And this is the giant Rider-Waite-Smith. I have two versions of the yellow box. They're the ones with the blue and black plaid backs. Again, giant. This one's in order, and I'm going to try to keep it that way. So this is, oh, you're upside down. Oh, I guess it's not in order. Well, it is. The King of Pentacles is just in the middle of the wands. All right. Duly noted. So this is the giant yellow box, just to get an idea of what it looks like. And then because I'm extra, I also have the teeny tiny yellow box. I don't know where I got this. I don't know that I've actually seen it anywhere else either. It also has the plaid backs. I love this tiny little thing. I don't typically go many places, but it's gonna be carried around in my purse. And just to get an idea, I mean, this is the difference in the sizes. How cute. And a standard size is here in the middle. I mean, you know Chrissy's gonna have all of the kitschy ones, right? The super big, and the giant and the mini, because that's how I roll. Another deck that I really like is the Rider-Waite. This one, Pamela Coleman Smith's Rider-Waite playing card deck. The pictures are small on this one, but I also enjoy how it kind of sneaks. You could take the majors out and use this as a playing card deck. And I think that's really clever. This is this is probably the newest. If you take out my holiday decks, which I'm not going to show you, but there's a YouTube video on those. I think this one's really cute too. I feel like this is one that I could use in a coffee shop if I was ever self-conscious and get away with, because it does look like playing cards. And one of the things that I've taken to doing the last few months is playing analog solitaire, and I think that would be fun to do with this little deck. So Rider-Waite-Smith playing cards. I also, this is the Tarot Vintage. This is the, oh oh my gosh, I forget what this is called. There's a name for this back. Something in roses. The coloring here is antiqued. What I like about it is that the antique splotches haven't been applied to every card the same. Some of the decks that I see out there have the same splotches on every card, and that bothers me. So I like this variance in the splotches. The colors here are more muted. It's very splotchy. Again, this is the Tarot Vintage, and I like this deck a lot. Again, muted on the sepia side of muted. My two favorites are next. I'm trying to decide which one to show you first. Let's go with, this is Pamela Coleman-Smith RWS deck is the way it's phrased on Amazon. This one is muted, but on a gray scale, where Tarot Vintage is more brown. The Pamela Coleman-Smith is much more gray. I love this deck very, very much. I feel like it has a wider color expression than I just noticed something. So looking at the Three of Pentacles, and I'll bring this out in my last deck as well. Something that I like in Pamela Coleman-Smith's version is that we have the spotted cloak here, and it's green in the Tarot Vintage. Not that that makes a big deal, but there is also a spotted cloak in the Five of Wands, which I find interesting. So, and these are things that we may talk about. I think would be really interesting to talk about as we get into our study together. What different versions, where the colors change, where the imagery is different. I know there's some differences in what color the sun and the sky are in the full as well. I think it's gonna be something fun for us to talk about. So, Tarot Vintage, more sepia toned. Pamela Coleman-Smith, more gray. I'll show you a few more of the Pamela Coleman-Smith cards. I love it. I love it. Oh, I'll end with the High Priestess. She's my card of the year. Gorgeous. And if there are any specific cards in any of these that you want to see, let me know. Tarot Vintage, roses on the back. Pamela Coleman-Smith, the Four Elements, which I love. Bright Ass Yellow Box has plaid backs. And then finally, my favorite is a Centennial Borderless. I think it's my absolute favorite because it's borderless. If I unbordered Pamela Coleman-Smith, she'd be my favorite. But it's definitely the borderless Centennial. This coloring is very similar to the yellow box, just like turned down a notch. It's just not as bright. I feel like the full range of color exists in the Centennial. It's just not as bright. Now this box is green, I believe. I haven't had this box in a really long time. So again, I feel like the Tarot Vintage and the Pamela Coleman-Smith they don't have the full range of color because they are so muted, where I feel like the Centennial is just turned down. So let's look at, actually, let me pull the Three of Pentacles out of the giant one as well, so we can see the differences. There's the 4, here's the 3. All right. So this is the giant yellow box, plaid back, Three of Pentacles. Okay, yellow box. I don't know if that has any name other than yellow box. Then we have the Centennial Borderless, green rose back. See the same colors, just turned down a notch. Things aren't as bright. Then we have the Pamela Coleman Smith, turned down even further, which is, we still have the spotted tunic here on our city planner, the architect, I guess, as I think about him here. Yellow Box, Pamela Coleman Smith, Centennial, all have the spotted cloak. And then comes in Tarot Vintage with the green. So in comparison to the Yellow Box, we have Yellow Box with Tarot Vintage, Yellow Box with Borderless Centennial, and Yellow Box with Pamela Coleman Smith. I will always be teaching. Let's try this. Try this again. My intention is to always teach with the Yellow Box simply because it's the biggest, because I can see the most detail in the bigger cards. And also because the color is most exaggerated, I think it'll show up the best on camera and as I teach through it. So I will be teaching with the giant Yellow Box, but I will personally be experiencing with the Centennial because I love it. I love it. I'm actually going to be on the lookout for a vintage Centennial deck just because I want one. So as I close, I'm gonna draw a card for us. For those of us walking this path of Attuned Tarot. A single card. Just get us rolling. Something, let's try this, something to think about as we choose a deck. And we have the Magician. The Magician is this symbol of we already have all of the tools that we need. So I see this as like a reminder that you don't have to go out and buy something new. If you want to, of course, but you don't have to. You have all the tools you need to experience the magic, to experience the insight. If you got a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that's all you need. Just need one. You have all the tools in front of you. If you want to pick other flowers, if you want to pick other fruit, that's fine, but you don't have to. Friends, this was fun. I am getting ready to hop in the car for a couple of days with my bestie. So it was lovely to see you. Take great care, and I will see you on the 1st. Bye, friends.